There we go.
We are live. We are talking tangos with Angel Angie KC in Oklahoma and
we host Scott in LA Studio City.
And we both kind of agree that tonight was a successful switch-up night.
It was. It was kind of a little breakthrough. It was, so it's week 5, and this is the night it kind of clicked for a lot of them. And, you know, it's kind of funny because the big fear was their reaction to a new partner and, you know, are they going to take a step back? But for the most part, I think a lot of them gave their best performances so far.
I think so too. I made a note that I think it's the most successful incarnation of this theme of switch up that they've had. I mean, I think this is the 3rd year, the 3rd season.
Yeah. This definitely was the best of them. And the interesting thing to note is they did well. I think I forgot who noted it in the beginning. Maybe it was Julianne, that tonight's dances were twice as long as the previous weeks. So they had long routines to learn too.
Yeah, she did make that because I think it was it Paula's that she was talking about it?
Yeah.
It was either, I don't know, one of the 3 dances she made that it was there twice as long. Because I noticed that it felt like, oh, these dances are longer.
Yeah.
I noticed that there a lot more filler, which some of the filler I really liked.
Yeah, I definitely liked the lie detector.
Yeah, it was entertaining. You know,
it was good.
Not everything has to be serious, you know.
No, I mean, we have to remember it's a television show. It should be entertaining. They should do some. I mean, they've done stuff before. I actually like the lie detector a lot more when they used to do that takeoff of ESPN with the, you know, the guys all the commenting. I don't know. Did they do that when you started watching? They used to. I forget.
During the finale when they have on what's his face.
Yeah. Well, they used to do that throughout the season a little bit, occasionally. And it was funny, but I thought tonight was good. It was, and they were quick. You know, you kind of did a few of them, and then you moved on, and then they did it again, and it was cute, very cute.
Yeah. So we start out, and my first note is that I really kind of love that opening number.
It was fun with the doors. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, I loved, and I thought they actually had the celebrities do a whole lot more dancing than I've seen them do in these opening numbers in the past.
Right.
You know, used to them just kind of doing maybe a little 5, 6, 8 step walk and then a little pose, and that was about all they did.
Right. They got them
all they could learn and remember.
Exactly.
So, and then I said, oh God, I forgot Max was back this week.
Right. I mean, I knew he was coming. I hadn't thought about it when I started watching. Then the minute I saw him, I thought to myself, great, it's Max. I'm a fan.
Yeah, you're a fan of Max, and I'm not quite such a fan of Max, but anyway. And then I said, because the announcer was like, and these are the couples you chose. And I'm thinking, really? These are the couples we chose? I mean, I was not a voter, but I was thinking about it.
Right.
There are some couples here I really liked. There's some couples here I wish were the couples going forward.
Right.
You know? So we start right in with Tamar and Louie.
Right. She was as awkward as she often is.
She just looks all arms and legs in this one.
Right, like lumbering along, big, you know, I don't know, just...
Awkward and uncomfortable is my note.
Right. Now, tonight's dance doesn't call for gracefulness, but even so, there has to be a smoothness. There has to be a, you know, she doesn't have that little extra... She learns the choreography and all, but it's just a little, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know that Louis was trying to, you know, ramp things up and keep a high level of stuff in there. I just didn't. There was no connection between the two of them at all.
Well, her problem is there's a little bit of an artificial quality to her. So that not only keeps her from connecting with her partners, it keeps her from connecting with the audience. So she's got like kind of a built-in problem with that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have not connected with her. I'm not a fan. I think I actually even said in either my notes or in our text that I don't like her.
Yeah.
So, and they ended up with 7787 for a 29.
Mm-hmm.
Max evidently liked it.
Right, which was interesting.
Yeah. So then we move on to Hayes and Allison doing a Viennese waltz.
Right.
I said the voice cracking was adorable in the package.
Very funny, very cute.
I was like, oh, that's so cute.
How old is he? Is he
15?
15, so there you go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I said, no sneakers this week, because that had been a complaint of mine the first 3 or 4 weeks, because he was always in sneakers.
No, Paula wore them instead.
Yeah. And I thought, my one note was, this is very sweet. I thought it was actually sweet. I did think it was awfully fast. That's kind of a note for Allison a lot. I mean, a lot of her dances there's a lot of movement, a lot of fast, a lot of steps.
Well, it's interesting. I went onto Wikipedia to look up a little bit more about the qualities of a Viennese waltz as opposed to a regular waltz. And I learned that it is generally faster. Instead of 80, it's like 160 beats or something. But this was just way faster than that. And I kind of agreed with Bruno that it was a little jumpy. He was, he bounced a little. And, I mean, overall it was good. But, yeah, there wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, it was, to me, it felt like a 15-year-old trying to do a grown-up dance.
Right. But I did like Allison's idea of giving him a different kind of persona than he's had, going for something a little bit more elegant or sophisticated. I think it's a great idea. I give her props for that. She's very smart. I'm not sure he pulled it off because he's so boyish, But I see what Allison was going for.
Yeah. So they ended up, decent scores, 2 8s and 2 7s. 8s from the girls, 7s from the guys.
Right, and that probably works.
Yeah, like a 31. So, and then we got our first little lie detector bit in there, which
Thank you.
I loved some of the questions they were asking. I thought they were hilarious.
They were.
So.
They were.
And then.
I love things that get them a little red-faced. It's cute. It's very cute.
Do you think you're the best pro dancer on the show?
Right.
Okay.
Asking Val if he thinks, who did they ask Val who he thinks is cute? Which guy? I forget. It was funny.
Yeah. Well, they were asking everybody if Val thought he was attractive, and then if they thought Val was attractive.
Oh, right. I
think that was kind of the gist of the way that one went.
So funny.
Yeah, it was. I did enjoy those little moments in there, and I also enjoy having. I think it feels like the bumpers are longer.
Oh yeah.
A lot longer pro bumpers, which I'm enjoying seeing.
I know. I made note of that with one of the rejoins coming back. Yeah, maybe the second one.
Yeah,
that's true. Which is was this where Bruno had the scoring snafu?
Whose was it? Was it Hayes and Allison?
I'm trying to see. It was in my notes here. I didn't quite understand what the problem was, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Well, I know that the way the logistics work, they submit their scores to a runner who then takes them to the producers.
Right. I'm just wondering who got confused with that.
I don't know. But they got it straightened out. But
that was when it was. It was coming out. Because it was 8877, and they thought Bruno gave an 8, but it was a 7 as displayed. So okay, cool.
Yep. And then couple number 3 was Paula and Mark with the jive. And my first note was, I hate Paula's outfit. It was big and dumpy. I mean, the fact that it was just so loose and hanging, I was like, what? I mean, Mark usually is better at styling than that.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
And why was she in sneakers?
His coming out as the milkman thing was freaky. Like this little, and he spoke. It was just weird. It was like, I mean, he's acting. It was funny, but it just it sort of jumped out at me. But Len would have thought there was too much messing about.
Yes, he would have. Wanted to get to dance. I did say that it was her best dance.
Yeah, it was.
But oh my God, afterwards, I'm like, does she drink?
I know.
I'm wondering, does she drink before this show?
I'm sure she does. I would. I drank before this show.
Much smaller audience here.
Getting back to what you said, yeah, I think Paula would have looked a lot better if they just put like some saddle shoes on her or something.
Maybe, and I just, like I said, the way the dress fit her, it had no shape to it.
Yeah, it was weird, and there was no. Yeah, it didn't give you that oomph you need when you're doing a jive or when you're doing any kind of
I mean, at least if there'd been like maybe a pinafore or something underneath that skirt to give it a little bit of shape, so that it came down and she had a shape rather than straight up and down.
And her figure for her age is good, so accentuate it. I mean, the past weeks they've showed off her legs, and she's lost so much weight. Didn't do it justice.
Yeah, but I said it was her best dance, but it was definitely a very stripped down, simplified jive.
Right.
And she
my notes then say, "Ooh, Olivia Newton-John is the guest host next week," because I think they announced it at this point.
At that point, yeah.
That was kind of a fun. She's making the rounds lately. I forget what she's promoting, but good for her.
Yeah. And they ended up with 7.766 for a 26, which I think are probably her best scores to date.
Yeah, I think they are, because she was getting 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we move on to couple number 4, the romance couple.
Alek
and Emma. I was excited for this couple. And
I wish they could stay as a couple.
I know. I thought they were terrific together. I said chemistry out the yin-yang.
They totally did. They totally did. He's adorable. He just, again, I think he's going to continue to be a fan favorite for 2 reasons. The underdog, the person no one expected much from, the sudden celebrity comes in and then pulls it off each week. He learns, and he's serious about it, and he's kind of charming but not overly done. He just, to me, is a textbook case of someone that fans would vote for. And I think he's going to be there a while.
Yeah, I think so too. And the fact that Max even kind of raved about him and basically said what we all thought was like, this guy, who the hell is this guy?
That's the thing. I think he kind of articulated what a lot of us think. It's like, I didn't have such hopes for you, or like him already. That this guy, who is he? And even the first dance or two, the first week or two, he was okay. You can't judge on those first couple of weeks. The fact that in week 5 he's gone to where he is, keep going. You go, boy. That's what I say. Yeah, and I
kind of scratched my head at the scores though.
Oh, 7s. That was weird. After some of the raves.
And 7s from the others, I was kind of like, they said nothing, because Rumba is usually the one where they kill the guys, the male celebrities, for hip action.
Right.
Which you didn't hear them say anything about that. So I'm not sure. They were harping on facial expression.
Right.
Which he did have that kind of very concentrated into it.
He does, and he'll have to work on that a little, because now with week 5, I think you are starting to see all of them get into their performance. So you do have, that is an important component.
So yeah, I'm hoping that this kind of being with Emma and having this kind of a little bit of a breakthrough as far as really, because they commented on the connection was there the whole time.
Yep.
I'm hoping when he gets back to Lindsey, that she just continues, because I think Lindsey's doing a great job with him.
Right. Now, Carrie Ann gave him an 8, right?
Yes, he ended up with a 29.
She was a little surprised too at everyone else's score.
Yeah.
She was like, "What?"
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And then couple number 5 was Bindi and Mark doing a cha-cha.
Yeah, I was kind of making my week 5 prediction here. I feel like she could win it. I feel like she might. I feel like she will. I don't know. She just. Although after that, we saw a couple of 4 10s come.
Yeah.
Out. So, yeah, I may just say she has a shot at it. I would say she'll be in the finals for sure. Yeah.
Well, I said she just makes me smile.
She does. She does.
And even Max said that he was smiling the whole time. She's just that genuine personality. It's that she is that ray of sunshine.
Right, and that's the quality you need. If you have your good technique, and you are that ray of sunshine, that's what you need. If you don't come into it with a huge American following, I mean, she didn't come into this with bringing a ton of fans with her. So she has what it takes to sustain it, just based on her personality and her technique. So
yeah,
but story.
I made a note about. I'm sorry, it wasn't Bindi and Mark. It's Bindi and Val. Why did I
Bindi
say
and Val, right.
Val? I thought to myself when Val said this was the hardest cha-cha he had done on the show, and I was like,
I don't know about that. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Really? So, because it was good, but I swear I've seen better cha-chas.
No, I have. I've seen Knock Your Socks Off cha-chas, and I think they got 9s, which is what they deserve.
And a 10 from Max, which I
Right.
I have a note like, Max, really? A 10?
And it's so funny because I always think he gives his brother a hard time, so I was a little surprised that he would.
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely La Familia support in there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So anyway, that's like, she's just, I love her. So couple number 6 was Carlos and Lindsey doing a quick step.
Oh, that was a wow. That knocked me out. That was a wonderful dance.
Yeah, and my first note was Lindsey may be my new favorite pro.
Love her, and she did such a good job choreographing that. And it's funny because Bruno mentioned the touch of jive in it. I kept thinking, wow, there's almost like a jive feel, but it's quick step, and it just, they threw in so much fun stuff. Not an easy dance. I mean, the quick step and the jive are both like dances of death. So to pull it off, good for him.
And it's twice as long as what they're used to dancing.
Right. So I would call this Carlos's breakthrough tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they ended up with 10, 10, 9, 10. They got a 9 from Max, but a 10 from the other 3 for a 39.
Nice scores. Very well.
I said, wow, that was really amazing. And then Tom's remark, Witney looks so pleased.
That was so funny. She's like giving that look.
So, yeah. Yes, I was Tom and Aaron back where they're supposed to be, and
I love that.
Yeah,
that was right in the world.
Then we moved on to Alexa and Derek doing a tango, and my first note was I loved that entire concept.
I loved it too. I have an interesting personal thing with Alexa. Alexa. There's something about her I'm never finding memorable. I'm not saying it's just her dance. She's done some great dances. Just something about her persona and whatever. Do you ever have someone, like when someone talks about them or you think about them, you can't even conjure up what they look like? There's just something, I have a mental thing about her.
Forgettable.
It's just forgettable to me. And if when I'm voting or I'm rooting for someone, I'm kind of thinking she's like here, but she's not going to get to there. It could be just me, but I don't know what it is. There's like a little forgettable quality. I've noticed this the last few weeks.
Well,
I've noticed actually she's come on or they've had cutaways. I'm like, who's that? Oh, Alexa. It's weird. It's a funny thing that I have. I don't know.
For me, she has made herself, I mean, I don't want to be quite so negative, but it seems like she's made herself more of a Carlos appendage.
See, I kind of agree.
We know Carlos. Remember Carlos, he's out there.
Right.
But Alexa is all about, she's the one who keeps pushing this, we're a married couple, I'm rooting for Carlos, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's going to hurt her if she continues to do that, because when nobody's going to see Alexa, they're going to see Carlos's wife.
And she's been advised by the pros not to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's the way I feel like she has been presenting herself, is not as Alexa Pena Vega. It's more like Alexa Carlos's wife. Right.
And it's interesting because for a few weeks she had higher scores than him, but he leaves much more of an impression on me.
Yeah.
It's not that he's cute, it's just that is a charisma to him. That's what it is. I don't find her charismatic at all. She's just not. He is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But they ended up with the first perfect score of the season, and I was shocked that they got a perfect score in week 5.
I know that seems a little early, but it was I went back and looked at it when we were on a break, and it was a great day. I mean, I couldn't pick anything out. I mean, I don't know enough technical things to pick out, but yeah, it was a perfectly good dance. Yeah, but
and she looked.
I
love that concept, and she looked fantastic.
Right.
And I kept noticing her frame. I mean, Derek had her in hold with that definite, tango frame with the head and the shoulders and the arch in the back and all of that.
Oh yeah, it's funny how the dance is memorable to me, but she's not. What is my problem with her? It's the weirdest
Well,
thing.
and it didn't help this week that he had her all in gray.
Oh, that didn't help. You're right.
No, she was in gray, and even the makeup on the face was kind of wrapped down, and they all of the dancers in that number looked the same.
Right.
So,
right.
But
very interesting.
Anyway, we're jumping right through these because we moved on to couple 8 already. Couple 8, really? Yeah. Couple 8 was Andy and Sharna for doing an Argentine tango.
Loved it. His best dance. Fabulous.
Yeah, I said, well, that was sexy.
Yeah, very sexy.
And his best dance to date. I mean, he did still have a couple of little awkward moments, but I did not notice. Nothing jumped out at me of the awkward. I know last week his feet, for some reason, seemed awkward. And maybe it's because the movements were more deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything he's done with Allison has been almost felt frantic.
Right.
In the pacing and the quality, the movement quality, and this just felt like there's a lot more deliberate and I don't know.
Again, that comes with that extra week of experience. You know, he's just honing it in.
Yeah, and also, you know, canceling a concert, having that extra time, that extra rehearsal time, because it definitely shows being able to, you know.
I said this to myself last week. How do you agree? How do you book this? Like when you have a tour going, I don't understand that. That's just, I think about some of our other little rock stars and pop stars that we love to follow. I could imagine them completely clearing the deck to do something like that, and the managers and agents working on this, and
Yeah, unless it's
although you have a tour lined up and ABC comes to you and says, "Do you want to be on Dancing with the Stars?" You find a way, I guess, because that
I guess that also is part of the dictation about who gets what pro gets what celebrity.
Right.
Because whoever gets a celebrity who has that kind of a schedule has to be available and willing to travel with them.
Exactly.
So I'm surprised that Allison was willing to do that much traveling with, a daughter at home, and so. But anyway, but I just had. I love his honesty.
I know what you're gonna say. The smell of fart thing. I know. It's great.
Well, it's just in the rehearsal package when he said, because Sharna kept talking about the balls. Remember the balls. You gotta use your balls. Right. And he's just like, I'll do anything if you just stop saying balls.
Sharna's funny. She's like, you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to mention the fart.
Yeah, he said, can I tell you why the face was like that? He said, because she said, do the face like you're smelling a fart. He's just like, oh no. So, and then the bells and farts made this dance. I love that. I absolutely loved it.
It was great. That's like a moment. I love it.
Yeah. So I said they got all 9s for 36. His absolute best scores.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yep. And then the last couple was Nick and Witney doing a Paso Doble.
I love that more than the judges did, I think. I thought it was good. I love Paso Doble.
Yeah.
I like the choreography. I
looked at the rehearsal package and went, I can't believe Whitney's letting him run the rehearsal like that. Who's the pro here?
Right.
And who knows Paso Doble here?
I once saw that with a couple of seasons ago. Something like that happened, and I was surprised. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Unless the pro thinks that the celebrity is so inspired, they have some ideas, and I'll listen to it, and if they're legitimate, we'll try it. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. And maybe it's just a testament to the strength of Nick's personality and his drive, and that Witney, it was easier for her to, I don't know. She knew she only had him for a week, and she was just taking advantage of the fact of dancing with somebody that famous at that level. Although the comment where she said, my mom used to like the Backstreet Boys, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I sat there for about 20 seconds calculating age. So if she's 20, whatever, her mother was like late 40s. I'm trying to think, would her mother be into that? Because most of my friends who I know who are into the Backstreet Boys or in sync are in their late 30s now. Because that would have been 20 years ago. Or
yeah, I had friends in Kansas City who, huge Backstreet, huge Backstreet, NSYNC, New Kids, big New Kids fans, which I think those 3 bands are all around the same time.
They are.
So, and those girls are in their mid-30s, I think.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out how old the mother is, and I'm thinking she's got to be like 45, 40.
Well, she could be late 30 or right at 40, depending on.
Well, how old is she?
Witney was the youngest pro like 3 seasons ago, which was just like a year and a half ago. And she had just turned like 19, so she's maybe 21.
Oh, you're right, because Lindsey's only like a year older. So, because they were on So You Think You Could Dance, they were 17, and that was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
3 years
so
ago.
she's
like, yeah, they should be 20 to 21. Oh, so her mother could be just 40, just turning 40.
Yeah.
She was young when she had her.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
So, and my reaction to it was I was expecting something pretty epic from her, but then my reaction was kind of just from technical aspects. I mean, because I've seen enough of them critiquing a paso doble to know that they normally want very sharp finished movements.
Oh, definitely.
And the shapes, and I remember just last week when they talked to Alek about having the hips forward.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Leading with your hips in the stance, and I noticed a lot of time. I noticed that when before Bruno even brought it up,
right?
That it did look like there were times when.
So you knew the comments were coming. Yeah.
I figured they were coming like that, but but they ended up with 9989 and Max didn't like it really at all.
Yeah, interesting. It was interesting to get his take on things, and I love the one comment he said. Who was it? He said he just didn't care for it. Was it Andy's? And he said, when he said Len would often say something like that to me, and now I think I understand it. He was in that position to. Yeah,
it was this one. He said it wasn't my cup of tea. He said Len used to say that, and I did not.
Now I get it.
But now I do. It's not my cup of tea for a paso.
Yeah,
basically what he was saying.
That's right.
He loved the movement and the choreography, but just as a concept. Not as a paso.
Right.
So I think we blew through those really fast.
We did.
Ended up with although they're combining scores from last week to this week, so we didn't ever. I should have gone back and added up so I know who was doing what.
That's your homework.
I know.
They didn't do a leaderboard. In fact, I've not seen them do leaderboards much this year. They always used to do that.
They did halfway through.
Did they? Yeah, only for the night.
The thing halfway through showing, I don't remember who was at the top. Maybe Bindi and Val were at the top, and then.
But if I were producing right before they recap tonight's performances, I would have reminded people their scores are being added up, and I would have done a leaderboard for tonight, and then next to like a 2-column thing. This is their scores tonight, and this is the 2-week total, and they're going to need your vote. If you don't like where yours is. You got to vote for them. I don't know, unless I missed it. I didn't see them do that.
No, they didn't. And I thought they've done that in the past.
They have.
Awards in the past, but it's a new producer. It's a new producer.
Yeah.
Conrad Green is gone, and it's Rob Wade now.
Right, and then for the most part, the show's been produced fine. I just like those little things, like a leader, just to remind us where everyone stands. And if you are going to like appeal to people to vote, and they do want people to do that. There's money involved in that with the texting and whatever. Mm-hmm. You want to show people where your favorites are. That encourages a whole bunch of people whose favorites aren't on the top to vote. It just makes sense.
Yeah. So
I like that kind of graphic recap.
Yeah. Well, and maybe when I edit this video and do the thing, maybe in the comments I'll do that. I'll go back because I still have scores from last week, my notes from last week, and I'll add them up and at least put it in our description. Right. We've got it, so we know where it is, and then
good idea.
Try and remember to do it next week and put them in order. So that was the week, and we were getting.
Loved it. Good night.
Yeah, next week the theme is famous dances. I couldn't figure out what it was the way they were describing it early in the show, and then finally at the end it was like famous dances from TV, movies, music videos. Right. So I'm thinking. Dirty Dancing, Singing in the Rain, Thriller.
I wonder if there'll be like a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers foxtrotty thing.
Like a top hat number.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Saturday Night Fever disco.
Well, they did show us the still photo from Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
So that's very well could add that on there. So for joining us.
Yep.
Whoever's watching, we'll tell us, spread it around, tell a friend, we're entertaining, we're fun.
We are.
And we will see you next week for Famous Dances Week with guest judge Olivia Newton-John, and we'll lose a couple next week. Although somebody said that Paula made a comment that they were going to lose 2 couples, but I haven't heard that officially anywhere.
Yeah, and it may have to do with how many episodes are scheduled for the season and where they are. I always wonder when someone drops out prematurely or they don't lose one, how they catch up and do it. They always do. They manage. They figure it out.
We'll see. We're going to lose somebody next week. Do you have a prediction on who's going to go?
I think it's going to be Paula.
Score-wise, it should be.
It should be, but I don't know that. I'm not saying for sure. I have a feeling. Tamar.
Yeah, I don't know how Tamar's connecting with the TV audience. She hasn't connected with me. I just have a complete disconnect with her and can't. Even the things she does well, I'm kind of like, eh.
Right. Who's your prediction, or do you have one?
It should be Paula.
Yeah.
Should be Paula. Could be Tamar. Although we're coming up on week 6, we always end up with a surprise, a shocking elimination.
I always think of the Sabrina elimination in the Helio season, and the Mel B Helio. I think that was at the next week, or maybe it was the one after that. She was doing so well, and then she got eliminated in, I think, week 6, and she was sort of more than a dark horse. She was a front runner. She's the one that was from the Pussycat Dolls. Again, her last name.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. You're kind of a ringer when you're on a performing act, like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Andy is kind of my.
Oh yeah, I wonder what kind of fan base he has. He might have a strong fan base. Man, the guy filled the House of Blues 3 years ago when I went there, and Ryan Starr opened for him, and I was just impressed with how many people were on the radio. And he's good looking. He's got women, but do they watch dancing? I don't know, but they may watch for him.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's a Paula. It should be Paula, but.
Has Andy been in the bottom 2? He's been in the bottom 2 at least once, or not?
Well, see, Carlos was in the bottom 2 last week.
Oh, but his scores make there's a possibility. I don't know how protected he is with this.
I was going to say the
vote is 50%.
They padded his and Alexa's scores big time tonight.
They did,
because Alexa was a top scorer tonight, and Carlos was right there behind her.
I always wonder how much manipulation goes in with the judges' scores, and if the producers want a married couple in the finale to be against each other. It's interesting.
Oh, not this married couple.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
I will have a problem with this married couple being in the finale, because that means there's people not in the finale that should have been there. Right. So.
Alrighty.
Well, we will see you all next week.
We will.
Thanks for watching.